Football is already a sport that fans are incredibly passionate about. The energy in the stadium is absolutely electrifying beyond words. But after a penalty shootout, well, it's almost insane what lengths fans will go to celebrate, and that too in the midst of a championship. Unfortunately, Billy Sharp learned that the hard way after fans poured onto the field. First up, the tension in the match itself. Despite losing a dramatic semi-final second leg at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest upset Sheffield United on penalties to set up a championship playoff final encounter with Huddersfield Town. At the end of an extremely tense match, Brice Samba came up big for the hosts, saving spot kicks from the likes of Ollie Norwood, Connor Hourihane, and Morgan Gibbs-White. When Samba saved Gibbs, poor White's penalty after the two legs finished 3-3 on aggregate, tens of thousands of Forest fans poured onto the pitch to celebrate with the team and showcase the true spirit of what it means to be a football fan. However, these celebrations were soured when one imbecile supporter charged into Sheffield United striker Billy Sharp, pushing him to the ground, ruining the moment for the club and fans alike. Sharp was reportedly shaken up and a bleeding mess after the game, according to Blade's boss, Paul Heckingbottom. Unfortunately, the injury was so terrible that he actually needed to be stitched up. With a sliding first-half finish, Brennan Johnson extended Forest's 2-1 aggregate lead from the first leg, but goals from Gibbs-White and John Fleck in the second half took the game straight to extra time and kept fans on the edge of their seats. In the 115th minute, Samba made a great quick reaction save to keep Iliman Ndiaye out and force the game into a stressful penalty shootout. By saving United's first two shots, the Congolese goalkeeper handed the team a comfortably early lead. Forest's goals came from Johnson, Cafu, and Steve Cook before Joe Lawley's shot went straight over the bar, which was a disappointing sight to see. But this set up Samba to make the stop from Gibbs-White that took the team to Wembley for the first time in 30 years after a long-awaited chance. Next, we have post-penalty mayhem. After the tense penalty shootout, there was absolute mayhem that ensued that resulted in Sharp getting knocked down the way he did. But after what we saw, people definitely had something to say about the incident. Paul Heckingbottom, the manager of Sheffield United, demanded justice be sought out immediately and said that the perpetrator should be facing no less than an actual prison sentence for the heinous crime. After seeing the footage, we've got to agree with him on that one. That was a brutal headbutt that knocked the poor guy straight to the ground. Paul went on to say that Sharp was assaulted on the blind side, which is cowardly enough since he never saw his attacker coming. He claimed it's a clear-cut case of assault and that the headlines should read that one of the players had been attacked and now caught in the act. Robert Biggs, 30, a four-season ticket holder, ended up pleading guilty to assault causing actual bodily harm and was sentenced to 24 weeks in prison. Biggs, of Churchview, Ilkeston, Derbyshire, was fined £500 in compensation, £85 in costs, as well as £128 victim surcharge at the Nottingham Magistrates Court on Thursday. Biggs, who has been told he will be banned for life by Nottingham Forest, had also been handed down a 10-year football ban on top of this. The incident was caught on cameras by cameras filming the championship semi-final on live television, according to the prosecutor in charge of handling the case, Marianne Connolly. In her words, Sharp had not taken part in the game personally and was simply watching from the sidelines. He appeared to be standing casually with his hands in his pockets, simply minding his own business. Biggs is clearly seen running down the pitch towards Sharp, who is then brutally headbutted. Now we have the verdict. The Crown's position in court was that this was a malicious, premeditated, and mindless act of violence. The scenario was compared directly to a direct attack on a worker in his workplace and should be seen as nothing different. District Judge Grace Long stated in her sentence that the videotape indicates that Biggs was sprinting towards Billy Sharp, dodging all of the other onlookers on his way towards him. She went on to say that even on the very slim chance that it wasn't an intentional attack, she believed it was a deliberate act of aggression. This was because there was no doubt that Biggs saw Sharp fall over, but he at no point stopped to make sure that he was okay or even check on the poor guy. Biggs put on quite the drama when he claimed that he and his girlfriend would be unable to keep up monthly mortgage repayments if he was imprisoned. So the judge was pressured to give him a suspended sentence, which didn't end up happening. Frankly speaking, he should have thought about his responsibilities before making a stupid decision like that. The court said that given the gravity of his grave crime, when thousands of people were present to witness it, there needs to be a very clear precedent set in stone, otherwise more people will feel empowered to do the same when they come onto the pitch. After all, it is the judge's job to make sure that incidents like these simply don't happen again. Having mercy on Biggs in a situation as clear as this was never going to be an option. Biggs turned himself into the police in the early hours of Wednesday, according to defense solicitor Rachel Gowans, after watching video evidence of the incident on social media and realizing he was going to get caught sooner or later. The court also discussed how Biggs had a lot to drink with a couple of his friends at a nearby pub and might have stumbled onto the pitch illegally without paying. However, these charges were later dropped against him. Finally, future protection for players. The Crown Prosecution Service said after the hearing that it was working with football's authorities to explain what evidence would be needed to charge criminals in order to help clubs protect their players in case of further similar occurrences. According to the CPS, this would ensure that they had all of the evidence they needed to establish establish the strongest case possible and simply leave no room for error. Surprised that they didn't think of putting these measures in place much earlier. There has been a huge surge in football-related criminality in recent years and months compared to the pre-pandemic levels, according to Douglas McKay, who was part of the CPS. He went on to say that violent criminal activities have no place in football, and instances like these have a tremendous impact on the victims, who never asked to be put in danger when they step onto the pitch. Time for some other news. Starting with Jose Mourinho, we wrote history. Jose Mourinho wins the Europa Conference League with Roma, his 6th major European trophy. Nicolo Zaniolo's first half goal was the difference in the final against Feyenoord. Mourinho currently has no plans to seek new challenges and simply said, "I am staying." Mourinho achieved a rare European title haul as Roma beat Feyenoord 1-0 in Tirana to ensure that he could add the inaugural Conference League to his collection. Mourinho had previously won the Championship League, Europa League, and UEFA Cup. Since 2003, he has won 5 European finals, while with the infamous Porto, Inter Milan, Manchester United, and now Roma. It was a fitting climax to Mourinho's first season in the Italian capital, having guided his team to a 6th place finish in Series A this time around. Next, Football Association to take no action after Crystal Palace manager's altercation with fan. After Everton's 3-2 comeback triumph on May 19th, fans rushed onto the pitch. Vieira seemed to kick a supporter during the pitch invasion after being taunted by him. Merseyside police met with both Vieira and the fan and stated that no action would be taken as a result of the incident. The pitch invasion at the Goodison Park match is still being investigated by the FA. Concerns have been raised across the league about the safety of the players, managers, and club officials, and how they are being exposed to scenarios like this one involving Vieira at Goodison Park, which occurred after a rash of pitch invasions in the final weeks of the season. Sky Sports footage showed the fan making obscene gestures at Vieira, prompting the Palace manager to lash out, first with his hand and then with a boot to the individual who had approached him. Vieira was then allegedly shoved by another Everton supporter before others intervened to secure the 45-year-old's safe exit from the pitch. Lastly, how English football changed Pep Guardiola. A 4th Premier League's title in 5 seasons, sealed by a thrilling victory over Aston Villa on Sunday, put skepticism against Guardiola to rest. His approach has radically revolutionized football in the country, according to broad consensus. A trip to a non-league game, a youth match, or even a 5-a-side pitch in England used to mean seeing a form of football that was solely focused on winning, with style being secondary. That has changed, and Guardiola is arguably the driving force behind it. We now live in distinct tactical times as a result of him, building from the ground up, encouraging others to be brave when moving forward, and a constant possession fixation are all visible, not just among the elite, but all the way down the football pyramid to the most junior players. And that's a wrap for this video. We'll see you in the next one.